Welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Nile. And if you ever wanted to watch a Spider-Man movie where he has a female sidekick and gets told at every single turn that he's just not that good of a hero and he's making everything worse, no, of course not. What about a Star Wars movie where Luke Skywalker has maybe like a young female apprentice and she does everything better than him right out the gate and basically makes him completely worthless? Right. That one already happened, and yeah, wasn't very good. But it looks like these lessons are not being learned by Hollywood when it comes to the Dungeons & Dragons movie. Take a look at this article. The Dungeons & Dragons movie intentionally emasculates its leading men. The Dungeons & Dragons movie's writing team revealed they intentionally emasculated the leading men in the film and put the women on the front lines. Now, I'm going to say it right out the gate. I got no issue with strong female women. I don't. Most individuals don't have issues with strong female women. In fact, I'll be honest with you, I got two celebrity crushes in real life, and that's Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano. Personally, I got a thing for women that can beat me down. When I was a child, guess who my very first celebrity crush was? Pretty sure it was Sigourney Weaver, all because of Alien. Once again, strong female character. So the problem is not strong female characters, it's when you have strong female characters that are written in a way to go out of their way to minimize and ridicule male characters. You can have both. One doesn't have to play second fiddle or be weaker than the other, or in this case, emasculated. That being said, let's go through the article, see what it has to say. Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves writing team John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein revealed they intentionally emasculated the film's leading men, though not for wokeness. It is interesting that out the gate, first paragraph, we have the word wokeness. I dare say that Hollywood and the media is catching on to the fact that that does not make money, that being, woke is not breaking the box office, and so anytime they're in interviews now they're going to have to be like, no, we're making these decisions that a lot of folks don't like that traditionally be seen as woke, but we're not doing it for wokeness, we have a totally different reason. Please don't conflate the two. I would love to take you at your word, I really would, but we've been burned far too many times in the past 10 to 15 years. Not only that, but you're already kind of at a tumultuous time, specifically with Dungeons & Dragons, considering the OGL controversy, that it's not even 2 months old at this point. So, forgive me for not believing every word that comes out your mouth for the time being. I would wager, no, this does have to do with wokeness, but even if it doesn't, it's still not good writing. It's still not something people want to see, woke or not. People don't want to see characters they love, male or female, be put down for other characters. That's just not how you write an endearing, long-lasting film. While speaking with Variety, Daly and Goldstein discussed how Michelle Rodriguez, Holga the Barbarian, and Sophia Lillis, Doric the Druid tend to engage in the front lines of the battle compared to the male party members. And you know what? That's fine. No issue there. I mean, Michelle Rodriguez is literally known for being one of the OG bad women when it comes to strong female characters. I mean, everything from Letty to her character in Resident Evil to pretty much anything she's been in. Michelle Rodriguez has been a BAMF. So I don't think there's an issue with her engaging in the front lines, especially being a barbarian. Like, that's literally the point of barbarians in D&D. But there's a difference between being in the front lines and flat out emasculating the male characters. I want to make sure that maybe they're using bad wording here and they're saying that the women are the fighters, the men aren't. That doesn't emasculate the men. What emasculates the men is how they're treated by the women, by the other people in the film, by the scenarios they come across, how they act and compared to those women. But let's keep going. That was not an attempt at wokeness on our part, Goldstein said, and Daly elaborated, saying, "Swear to God it wasn't. Man, they are just begging you guys to go see this movie. Like, they know the anti-woke crowd can kill a film. We've seen it happen. And if anything, I'll say this is a positive. We are seeing real-time proof they have learned that wokeness can kill a film, and they are just praying and begging, look, guys, this isn't woke. Trust us. I swear to God it isn't. We like that Holga is the bruiser that does the dirty work for Edgin, and he doesn't like to get his hands dirty. We also love emasculating leading men." We didn't need this sentence here. If you said this, that would have been fine. There's no issue with this, Holga is the bruiser that does the dirty work for Edgin, and he doesn't like to get his hands dirty. I've played many a D&D campaign, and the most recent one I was playing in, when I wasn't the DM for once, I was that character. I was like a dweeby alchemist scientist type character who didn't like field work. That was the joke. So we'd go out on these adventures, and I would just sit back and study and try and learn everything and create these alchemic concoctions while everyone else was fighting. Because as the nerdy scientist character, I didn't want to get my hands dirty. That didn't emasculate my character. Other characters would now and again as jokes. You know, I mean that's fine, whatnot. But just not wanting to, that does not make an emasculated character. But to add this, we also love emasculating leading men. What good does that do? If you love emasculating leading men, what interest is there in individuals like me who've been a Dungeons and Dragons fan for years to pay the big bucks to go see a film, especially in a recession period, if I'm just going to go and see the stars of the movie, the starring male characters, be emasculated the whole time in methods that, knowing modern Hollywood, probably aren't even all that funny. This isn't something new or whatnot. We've seen this time and time again. For example, the D&D's movies' male heroes aren't always heroic. After reiterating that the reasons did not pertain to woke thinking, the pair explained that they wrote the men that way because they find it funny and fresh. Okay, but it's not. It's not funny and fresh. Once again, I defer you to... Pointing to Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman's character in Date Night, which Daly and Goldstein also wrote, they also aimed to do something similar with Tom Holland's Peter Parker and Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming. We like our male heroes to be challenged and not simply heroic, Goldstein explained. That's fine! You can do that without emasculating them. I'm not a big fan of the Tom Holland, MCU Spider-Man. Nothing against Tom Holland, I just don't think these writers know how to write Spider-Man. I don't think they know what makes Spider-Man. That being said, Tom Holland's Peter Parker and Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark in Spider-Man Homecoming, I assume they're referring to when, Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, comes down, puts Peter Parker on blast and takes the suit. That's not emasculating him. That is a mentor making a decision and acknowledging he may have made a mistake in thinking that he could have a protege that was even better than him. Like, there's teachable moments in there and there's consequences, not emasculation. There's nothing emasculating about that because that moment doesn't take away Peter Parker's masculinity. It takes away from Peter Parker's hopes and ideas and dreams and basically the delusions that he is the next Iron Man. Has nothing to do with his masculinity. So despite my feelings for Spider-Man in the MCU, that's a well-written scene. I got no issues with that. So having your male heroes be challenged and not simply heroic, dude, that's fine. Everyone loves a flawed character. Remember Luke Skywalker back in episode 4? A New Hope? Homeboy was whiny. Wasn't exactly the biggest hero in the world. There were no really heroic male characters aside from Obi-Wan Kenobi. Han Solo wasn't heroic. The droids? I guess maybe you can make an argument there. Chewie was a sidekick. The only genuinely heroic one out the gate was actually Princess Leia, the female. But the others learned to be heroic as it went on. It's something that the pair found surprisingly difficult to achieve with leading actors in their films. While they did not name names, they noted they'd had experiences with a couple of male actors in the past who refused to look weak or vulnerable in a film. And maybe that's the actor, being an entitled, individual who just doesn't want to look bad or weird. Or maybe, and this is just I'm genuinely saying maybe, I don't know if this is the case or not, maybe these actors have spent a lot of time getting into character, they know the character, and when something emasculating happens to that character, they'd be like, well, this isn't right, this isn't how they would react, I don't want to do this scene. Because when you're acting, part of the job is to play a character, and if you're going to be playing this character and you're going to be immersing yourself in their world and becoming that individual, you want that individual's reactions and responses to what's happening in the outside world to be genuine and correct and in line with the character you've created. So I don't know if it's fair to blame the actor in the past who refused to look weak or vulnerable. Maybe it is. I wasn't there. I don't even know who they're referring to. I'm just saying that there is two sides to this coin, and maybe you're being bent on emasculating male characters is not a reflection of the actors, but it's a reflection of yourselves, and the actors that are stating, look, no, we don't want to do this because this is not in line with the character. However, they had the opposite problem with Chris Pine, who plays Edgin, the bard in the movie. Instead, Pine reportedly enjoyed making himself look as bad as possible, almost to a fault, to the point the team had to remind him he had to look heroic in some scenes. Now, again, I'm going to play a role reversal here. Pine reported enjoying making himself look bad as possible, almost to a fault. He's also playing a bard. That is kind of the stereotype with the bards, is that they're, well, useless until the point when they do something amazing that no one saw coming. So I don't know how much Chris Pine knows about D&D. I don't know if he's a fan of D&D. I don't know if he's played growing up or anything like that. But, you know, wanting himself to be as bad as possible, almost to a fault, that could honestly be a good little nod, a good little in-joke to D&D fans and players that he understands the role of the bard. Or it could just be him wanting to be silly and have fun, and I guess there's that too. Just point is, I don't know that this has anything to do with emasculation so much as it has to do with just going out of his way to not play the heroic character like, you know, he's been playing for so long, like Captain Kirk or whatever. The D&D Movies Adventuring Party is a bit crap. Regardless of the part each member of the D&D Adventuring Party plays, actor Hugh Grant, who plays the rogue Forge Fitzwilliam in the film, noted that none of the main characters are particularly good at what they do. I think maybe what I responded to most in their script was, it's about losers, this little band of comrades, they're all a bit crap. You're not great at being a bard, Grant said, and the magician, played by Justice Smith, is really bad. What do they call magicians in Dungeons & Dragons? Sorcerer? He's not much good. And Michelle Rodriguez's character has been thrown out of whatever, and is still in love with her husband, who is in love with someone else. That was a really weird way to end this article, but alright. So with all that being said, I haven't even decided if I'm going to go see this film. Honestly, probably not. As you guys know, as I've talked about at length on this channel, I'm not exactly a fan of what Wizards of the Coast and Papa Hasbro have done to both the Magic the Gathering and Dungeons & Dragons franchises, brands, and this is just seeming like it's adding fuel to the fire to that. That being said, I want to really comment. I think it is very interesting to talk about how they go out of their way, not once, not twice, but thrice in this article, to talk about how this is not wokeness, how they just enjoy doing it, which could be true. Benefit of the doubt, very well could be true. They could just enjoy emasculating their male characters for no woke reason at all, because they think it's funny, even though it's a shtick that is worn tired for quite some time now. Or they're absolutely lying, this is incredibly woke, and they just know that they have to say it's not woke because they've seen that people will not show up. They will not support woke garbage things. They've probably looked at Disney's, the MCU's recent outings, not even the MCU, the Peter Pan stuff and Pinocchio and basically all of Disney's recent outings and thought, yeah, we can't have that, so we better go out of our way to make sure this isn't woke. Or at least make sure we say it isn't woke. That way, after people sit down in the theater when they've already paid for it and they see that it is, well, we've already got their money. I don't know if it's something that nefarious or maybe these writers are just dumb. It could go either way. But that being said, I want to hear your thoughts on this, so by all means, please let me know in the comments below or let me know on Twitter where you can find me at BoltTheWord. And please do subscribe. I have a nerdy news channel. I do nerdy news every day. Hoping to have something a little bit different for you in the next day or two. I don't want to say what day because it has taken me quite a bit of time to put together, but there is something very interesting that I've been wanting to do for a while on the horizon, so yeah, be on the lookout for that. Also, check out the back catalog. I have nerdy news from all the past days, anything from Dungeons & Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Star Wars, anime, Disney, you name it. It's all here in the Nerdosphere, so please subscribe because this has been Words of Paradise.